Harley called it there.
Marchand would have been fun.
So are we gonna make a move?
I would have liked to see Marchand with Bennett here. I wouldn't have minded seeing that.
What are you doing? Who are you taking off the roster?
Where'd you see that, Banksy?
Yeah.
One of the TSN guys. Give me a second.
Few moments later.
What's cooking?
Yeah, he's
not media friendly.
Brad Marchand to Florida. Elliot just said Brad Marchand to Florida. I'm not even fucking around.
No.
Oh, Nick does
what the fuck?
He does this with us. Check.
I called it.
Elliot Friedman's reporting Brad Marchand to Florida.
Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
What the fuck?
Well, everyone listen. I was ahead of you guys on this part. I was a Brad Marchand.
Bennett?
Hold on, Caesar. Hold on. I was a Brad Marchand fan this past month with Team Canada. Now all you guys get to be.
Hey, didn't I say? Wouldn't it be nice just a few minutes ago?
A lot of you guys don't like Brad Marchand. A lot of you guys, he's at the top of your list. My top of my list is Pat Maroon, all those guys.
Let's fucking go. Let's
Caesar,
fucking go.
Caesar, his number one most hated was Brad Marchand. Ain't it correct there, Caesar?
Oh my gosh.
Caesar's going to have to change his tune for you.
What the fuck?
Dude, holy shit. Hold on, I gotta.
What? I'm shaking right now.
This. Holy shit. Who did we give up, though? Where? All right, guys. And gentlemen, that's how it all started.
Well, are we a fan?
Hello, everybody.
Got to play that on July 1st.
Yeah, there you go. We got some receipts from the Seth Jones one too, so we're going to be bringing those out.
Unfortunately, I was not there on that stream. I was in a restaurant in Nashville.
Cody probably dropped his phone. He probably like.
You mean Seth Jones, that guy that Chris Pronger tonight said is the Panthers' best defenseman here in these 2020?
Well, what does Chris Pronger know, Kirby? Come on.
I mean, he's only one half of the greatest pair we've ever seen with Scott.
What does Chris Pronger know, right?
But no,
Chris Pronger was in Edmonton tonight, his former stomping grounds there. Traded for John.
Right?
Listen, I was in Nashville when that trade went down, and I was sitting at the table waiting for my food, and I had all the tweets just spamming. It's like I forgot what trade happened like a minute before. I think it may have been like Brazeau to the Wild, and I wanted Brazeau. And then I just see possibility Marchand to Florida. I'm just like, what? I stared at my phone. I kept refreshing to see. I'm like, because he said possibility, and then it said official. I'm like, oh, the hell. And then then it comes to like, who the hell did we give up?
When you hear Vegas's name, you just think it's a lock. They're getting the guy.
Yeah,
but we're like sitting there.
Who would have thought Marchand going to Florida? Who would have thought?
But why are we bringing up Brad Marchand tonight, gentlemen? I had some stirring debates on our post-game show on X as well before the game ended. Who is your front runner for the Florida Panthers for the Conn Smythe? Is it Brad Marchand? Is it Sam Bennett? Who is it? Why?
Not to get ahead of ourselves, but I do.
We got to talk about it now.
I think it's Marchand. No disrespect to Bennett. I think dark horse. I think should definitely get some votes. I wouldn't be unhappy if he got it. Sergei Bobrovsky, I think, absolutely deserves to be
definitely
in the Conn Smythe conversation. But I think it's Brad Marchand. I mean, when you take a look at some. First, it's not just scoring goals. He's a line driver, dude. He makes plays. I mean, he's the best player out on the ice most nights.
Antonio,
this pops a goal or two. And I'm not saying
it's. I hate Antonio. Just remind me who scored the Game 3 overtime winner that saved us from going down 2-0.
I also think I don't know how they do it, but you have 6 goals in the Stanley Cup final. Brad Marchand has 6 goals in the Stanley Cup final.
Wasn't it 7?
No, 6. But that to me means something.
It could be 7 by the end of this, but
it could. But that to me, it means something.
But wasn't he our best player from Tampa through Toronto, and then into Carolina? It might have changed, but what he's doing now for 3 out of the 4 series, I would pick Brad Marchand.
We didn't even need that third line for the Carolina series. It was just our big boys said, "All right, let's just get this done and over with." And speaking of Brad Marchand, It's time, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, here we go.
SU Trash Can Player of the Game, brought to you by Florida State University, the greatest university ever. Go Noles. It's 2 players tonight.
Can't be a Panther tonight. You said it was all the Panthers in the second period the other night, then had to settle on Barkov.
Yeah, but tonight it is 2 players because I can't decide between each of them. It is Jake Wallman and Matthias Ekholm.
Who?
The 2 guys that Brad Marchand walked.
Do we get an extra goal for Jake Wallman going into the net? That's what I was asking on Twitter.
Maybe.
Did you find that funny, Nick?
I didn't know it went in until like Kenny
No,
Albert
because you
said,
just
Nobody
see it
knew.
going. You just see Kenny Albert say score and Marchand's jumping up and down. I'm like, what?
Oh, so you guys
There's
need
no way.
right into the net then.
Antonio Ekholm is good. Just had a bad night.
Yeah,
Bad play
I mean,
right there.
it varies from night to night. So, but this game, it just Florida had the legs, Edmonton didn't. That's basically what the
Yeah.
basis of this game was.
And I think Kachuk even said it. Like, whoever recuperates, whoever recovers is going to have the edge in game 5. And how about this series in general? Like, we don't know what the hell is going to happen. Like, each game has been completely different. And it's insane. Like, we don't even know what's going to happen game 6. But, hey, grab your popcorn because it's going to be one hell of a show.
And I think just about you guys mentioned there, I think the Oilers had their legs the first 5 to 8 minutes in, and then
I agree.
what happened there? Light switch there went off, Cody, and a lot of credit to the Panthers. They start
Right after the first Brad Marchand goal, the first goal, it's like we woke up.
It was even before that. It was like 2
Yeah.
shifts before that.
I didn't really sense any pushback at any point. Like obviously, like you.
But
you
we
were
can't see as
s-
Panther fans 1 goal sinks the Oilers. They're not.
No,
No.
I mean,
They're not. The Maple.
No.
I'll say this: the way the Oilers have started each of these last couple games has been really like the last 3 games. The way they've started, it's not good enough.
Yeah, it's just like they just have like one great shift to start, and then it just tapers off.
Yeah, we talked about that on post game. The spaces. How much does that have to do with the lack of depth? But then you take a look at some of these games. The depth's come through. We talked about it the other night. The depth led the charge for Edmonton. It wasn't Draisaitl and McDavid.
It was Nuge, Nurse, Podkolzin.
Podkolzin and Jake Wallman. And I don't remember who gave the assist to Wallman. Was it Draisaitl?
Actually, it may have been McDavid.
Whatever it is, it's Corey Perry, another one. I mean, it's come up. The depth's come up big for Edmonton. I just think, coming out game 5. It was Kapanen.
Yeah, and he
I think
got
that was
scratched tonight.
I thought that was a stupid decision to take him out. But you take a look at how they started. I think the first 5-10 minutes is like both teams I think were okay with playing. No penalties. I mean, I know Edmonton wants penalties, but it was a little bit more settled down play. It was really some good, hard-nosed hockey. And then I think that was a gut punch, the Marchand one. But right off the draw, too, I mean, he splits
He
the
steps
defense.
inside there on Ekholm, right?
He's so shifty. I mean, it's like
Just him jumping right here. It's just like wins the face off and just cuts both defensemen right through.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is why if we're able to win this cup, I think he should be the Conn Smythe. Plays like that, timing of those plays, big goals. I mean, I've talked about this a ton lately, but Brad Marchand, we were down 2-0 in the series against Toronto, game 3. I think we're already down 2-0. And Brad Marchand's sitting there at the bench barking at Max Domi. And you wouldn't be able to tell they're down. They're on the brink of it. You're down 2-0 in the series. You're down 2-0 in the game. You have started off terribly. You haven't been able to put anything together. And here he is just barking at Max Domi, pulling his team into the fire. We talked about, Matthew Tkachuk. He pulls his team into the fire. How often do you get a culture guy, a difference maker, arguably your MVP, at the deadline? Like
Well,
there was
I said on our post-game show with Cody, you're getting a guy coming in with already winning championship pedigree. He's coming here. He sees what Florida is and what they are now as champions. He's like, let me just find my role and fit in, and not just do that, but contribute to what they're
I just
asking
got
me to,
spoiled. Who got the puck? Damn it!
but not do any more than that, Nick. And he's fitting in perfectly to what his role is, and not asking to do more than that. And
Yep.
the team's asking him, hey, play on that top 9 role with that third line and drive play there.
And I think when you have such an elite player get those matchups and play with pretty good players in their own right. Anton Lundell, I think, said this in the past. I think he could be unbelievable when we talk about number 2 centers. I think in 2 years' time, he's going to be one of, if not the best second line center in the NHL. And I'm not talking about Draisaitl. He's a first line center. I get it. Whatever. Second line center with McDavid. Fine. But you put him with talented players, you give him favorable matchups, and he's able to do something with it. And a lot of talk. How far removed are we from that Bennett, Marchand, Kachuk line talk? How far removed are we from that?
I tried to. I didn't. I never really. People tried to fantasize about that line, but that line never made sense to me.
No, and I think
It was always
Again,
Lundell. It was always
when-
Lundell to me.
when you take a look at it, if we're able to win this cup, this guy who's done all this has been brought in at the deadline. Like this guy wasn't on our team 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. Like there was a realistic possibility if Matthew Tkachuk doesn't get hurt at Four Nations. We do not have this guy.
We do not. No.
We do not have this guy. And none of this happens. We're out in either the first, probably, if not the first, which I think is 50-50, the second round.
Maybe the second round. Yeah.
I mean, the notion, like, the idea that we were very, like, circumstances had to line up for us to be able to get this guy. That it wasn't just a give. It's not a guy you already have. You picked him up at the deadline because circumstances allowed it. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, it's just a trade deadline pickup. Like, things like this don't happen often.
So where would you guys rank this as all-time trade acquisitions in the NHL?
I would specifically have to think about rentals because trade acquisitions, I still
Before
like
in the trade deadline.
deadline.
Antonio, that's true. Boston's injuries, Kachuk's injury, they didn't perform to expectations. A lot of things lined up.
I'll put like a fringe Hall of Famer, or he is a Hall of Famer. I'd have to look. But Larry Murphy, the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, from Toronto.
From Toronto. Toronto gave up on him.
I'm trying to think.
Up there.
That was
I don't know. Is Carter Richards in there, or did they not sign at the or did they not get traded at the deadline, Cody?
Who the hell is Carter Richards?
On the Kings.
Oh, Mike Richards.
Yes, the shithead.
I
Were
said
those
Car-
guys?
I think he was mixing up Jeff Carter and Mike Richards.
No, Richards and Richards and Jeff Carter.
Oh,
Yeah, you said Carter Richards, which just like confused the hell out of me.
Use you because it was your era. If it wasn't your era, I
No,
thought
but
it
you said Carter Richards. I'm like, who the fuck is Carter?
was- were these guys moved at the deadline?
No, I think Carter was off season.
Okay, with the Columbus deal or whatever. Or
No, that was Philly and Columbus.
okay.
Yeah, I can't think of any rental, especially in recent memory.
Chicago, they were more like Vermette types. I want to
Brad
say.
Richards,
Brad Richards to who?
Chicago.
Oh, I don't think that's bigger than Marchand.
No.
Like I'm trying to think. I can't.
Did Rick
think.
Nash ever go on an insane run?
When was Phil Kessel brought in from Pittsburgh?
Off season.
Off season.
That was the first one that popped into my mind.
Yeah, so I'll throw some more at you.
Like I'm trying to think.
So this could very well be.
Oh, Kirby's guy, Ray Bork to Colorado.
But he was there for 2 years, no?
He didn't win the first year. He
Yeah.
won the second year. People forget that. It was the second year with Colorado.
Kirby loves Ray Bork for anybody that
Grew up as a Penguins fan at the very beginning. Man, I gotta go really.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think
Like it starts in the mid to late 90s is where you're looking.
Right.
But yeah, again, the circumstances
Wait.
Jerome
I just got one.
McGinley,
And we're
but I
talking
don't
about
know-
teams that won.
I just got one. Hossa was a rental.
Yeah. I forgot about Hosa.
With who?
Atlanta and Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Hell, that deal was a freaking steal for Pittsburgh because you know who else they got in that deal?
Kunitz, right?
Pascal Dupuis,
Dupuis, that's right.
And usually
Kunitz came from Anaheim.
Anaheim for
post that
Ryan Whitney.
Angelo says rigged Colorado Ray Bork Cup. I know Kirby would agree with that one.
Well, Colorado also tried to win by bringing in Korea and Solani for really cheap, and that didn't work out.
Yeah, they had
Marion Gaborik, but again, Columbus didn't really do anything.
Gabrick did.
I'm thinking of like Stanley Cup winners.
Gabrick played for the Blue Jackets. When?
I remember that.
Any ones, we don't want to bring this up, but any ones from Tampa, Colorado?
Like when you say Columbus and rental, my mind instantly goes Matt Duchene.
Yeah, but they didn't really do anything. But anyways,
We're talking
not
about-
to get stuck on this rabbit hole here, but again, the circumstances that lined up for Brad Marchand to come here is extraordinary. And I mean, I'll bring it back to Tarasenko, veteran winger on that third line. That's the most honest, that's the most obvious comparison we can make between the two. Brad Marchand, and no disrespect to Vladimir Tarasenko, Marchand's elite. He's a difference maker. I mean, he could do things with the puck that Tarasenko couldn't do. Tarasenko couldn't do what Marchand did tonight.
Oh, no.
I
When
mean,
you talk about the Panthers, though, you're talking about a lot of first-round failures, second-round failures. So you really got to go back to last year. That's about all you can do. So it's not really, to me, a compelling question when you just look at the Panthers.
no, I'm not talking about the Panthers. And
Like,
yeah.
like for Panthers, it's easily number one because ever since Zito's become a GM, he's been very diligent at the trade deadline, except for the 1 year we didn't have any cap space.
Well, this is the one I felt like the President's Trophy is. I think this is maybe what he thought. Like again, he gets a big time forward and a defenseman. I mean,
he just went all in that year.
I think he just went all in that year. I think this was very diligent. Like you take a look, like Brad Marchand, like that's a name that's off the board a bit. Obviously, you know, him wanting to come here made it obvious, but having the cojones, I'll say, to pull off the Seth Jones trade, moving Spencer Knight, a very unpopular decision at the time. Seth Jones couldn't play anymore. He sucks, is what the main.
His team was just so bad.
I just thought his team was terrible. But Seth Jones has come and he's fit seamlessly. He's been excellent here. I think he's been our best defenseman throughout this cup run so far.
Yeah.
And you take a look, Brad Marchand. I mean, a difference maker, like a guy that you have your ice time leader. Like there's a potential that we can have a Conn Smythe winner and our ice time leader. Both were acquired at that trade deadline.
Both have been one of the best at their position.
Your ice time leader and a potential Conn Smythe winner, if this comes to fruition, that's incredible. And even if it doesn't happen, right, it's still incredible.
That just vaults Zito into like, because if that does happen, I think Zito is probably the best GM in the NHL.
But moving on to more this series, I wanted to talk a little bit about. Well, we'll actually go here. Teams to come back from a 3-2 deficit. It was actually moves perfect. What do you think Edmonton needs to do? What are you expecting from Edmonton? What do they do in net? Do they go Skinner? Do they go Pickard? What are your guys' thoughts?
I think you go Pickard. You could you go either or. I actually have no idea.
It doesn't matter, honestly.
It's like the Carolina conundrum. You went to Kachekov. He was good for about 2 periods. Remember, 2 periods, and Pickard had the same shelf life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I don't think I would go with Skinner. I think Skinner was like
He played good the first 2 games.
He played good the first 2 games. Third game kind of got out of hand.
He hasn't had a chance on any of the goals this series.
But I think in the first period he really got left out to dry. I mean, he made some big stops.
And
but
it
again,
could have been way worse
Yeah.
than that.
Could've
It could have been 4-5-0 in the first if it wasn't for Skinner.
and I don't
So,
think Pickard did anything spectacular enough today, like any differently than Skinner. Like I think the ceiling for Skinner's higher.
But you're not. I told you this is not a goalie series. You're not looking for spectacular play. You're just looking for steady play. And I don't think there was anything that Pickard did today that he should lose the net. Now, I'm fine if they go back to Skinner. But what I would do, and I said this on our earlier post-game show, play Pickard early. If he lets even one bad goal or one questionable goal, yank him, you put Skinner in.
The leash is very short.
I'm fine either way. The leash is short, and it's not because Pickard's played bad. I mean, he's 7-1 in these playoffs. Or you go to Skinner if they feel with the extra day here, maybe they go to Skinner.
But it's kind of like Edmonton just has not been good enough 5-on-5 in this series
They
at
have not.
all.
That's a key, right, Cody?
Like
The 5-on-5, they have not been, and even on the power play. Let's
that's
take a
what
look.
sinked them tonight. Like they could have
They
salvaged
could
this
not
game.
score. And Bob, I believe, said in a quote, "I can't remember our team ever blocking that many shots on the penalty kill."
Yeah, like
and I
not,
think
like some of those
it
pucks didn't even
also-
get to Bob.
I think it also
Right.
started with winning the faceoff. There were a couple times, especially on those early power plays, we won the draw, cleared it out of the zone right away. We didn't allow Edmonton to get set up like for 2 minutes. There would be times, again, Edmonton, they're going to make our PK collapse a bit, right? We have to respect what they can do. You have Draisaitl on the outside. He could score from pretty much any angle. McDavid could fly around the ice. You have Bouchard from the point. I thought we've done a pretty nice job of limiting some of those options, particularly Bouchard at the point.
Yeah, I just want to interrupt. They're showing on Sportsnet 11 shots by the Oilers early on in the game and only 3 to 4 in high danger. Everything is outside the dots
And
top of the blue line.
even the Connor Brown one, I don't think, like, Mikkola caught up to him, and it wasn't a terrific shot by Connor Brown. Bobrovsky gloved it easily.
And I want to say 2 of the 4, even you say 2 of the 3, those were fairly early on there.
Like, if we're gonna be honest, really, what did the Panthers get about 5-on-5 tonight?
Not really
Nothing.
anything much. I mean, there was like a drive to the net. Anything that happened was in the first 5, 6, 7 minutes.
But
I
if you're
think
saying that, the Oilers didn't do anything on the power play. This was a 5v5 game across the board.
well, that explains why the game ended up the way it did. I was really kind of not too upset the other night. Like, obviously, was pissed off that we blew a 3-0 lead, but blowing a 3-0 lead to Edmonton in the first period, well, that's not blowing a 3-0 lead to other teams, right? And I look at it as, okay, we scored 3 goals in the first. They scored 3 goals in the second. We matched, right? So what? And then we both scored 1 goal in the third. I understand the 3-0 lead premise. What I really like is how we learned from that tonight. 2-0.
And I like the way we played in overtime, right? We
Yeah.
looked a much better team. Like, okay, they might have tied the game and we went into overtime, or we tied the game, went into overtime. But during that third and overtime, our play was much better than theirs.
Yeah,
And
Cody,
like you, Nick, I was like, I'm not worried. I like the way we played in finishing that game.
And if losing game 6 of the Cup final last year, that's the biggest game you're going
Right.
to lose. You're not losing a bigger game than you did game 6. No loss is more deflating than that one
I
last
had
year.
messages today that said this was the worst, Kirby.
Yeah, no.
This was nowhere near the worst.
Okay.
No.
Do you remember?
Look at our comments on the YouTube
I
site.
know,
Do
I
you
know, I know.
Cody, Kirby, do you remember that night when we lost game 6?
Yes,
Very vividly.
Yeah. The worst loss I think we've ever felt.
You know what's funny is like a lot of people were like getting on Barkov after last game. Like I called, like he was like the FSU trash player of the game, but I wasn't getting on him like everyone else was. He was the only guy who showed up for that game 6. The only one.
Oh, yeah. And again, I like how the team responds. If they are able to respond after game 6, the one thing that we have is like we have to recognize Panthers, they have that DNA. They have that championship mindset. They're resilient. They come back after losing game 6 last year. They win game 7. You come back after losing a hard one in game 4 this year. You win in game 5. You also take a look at how we did it. We learned from that. 2-0 lead in the
Seth
first.
Jones?
We shut it down. Absolutely shut it down. We kept into the outside. And I want to give a shout out to how we approached, in particular, the fourth line. cycling the puck below the
Oh,
hash marks in the offensive zone.
Wow. Thank
I
you
put
for
a
bringing
yard
that
and
up,
a
Nick.
vote on that one.
I mean, excellent. Like
What a-
that's how you play with a lead. And
Nosek,
we fixed it.
Greer, just cycling the puck. You saw Edmonton there at one point. They were gassed, trying to get a line change, and they just couldn't
The
because
long change.
that fourth line just kept it. They just kept cycling it, kept the puck in there. The forechecking was amazing. I thought that was a big key to this game as well. All four lines played 60 minutes.
Nurse and Sketcher guys were caught out there for 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
We were talking about that. I wonder if there's a stat on how many times defense pairs have been caught out for extended shifts.
Well, the
for playoffs.
Panthers, they had no guys after 40 minutes above 46 seconds on shifts. The Oilers had every guy above 46 seconds on at least one shift, except 2 players.
Wow.
And that was Podkolzin.
I can't remember the 2 names. I'd have to go back and look.
But again, short shifts. Like that's how you play a good road game. And that's where I think the depth plays into a bit more to your hand a bit.
Just to jump in very quick after this video, guys, there's a stat out there when the Panthers have been leading in these games and when the Oilers have. It's on Sportsnet stats there, if we can pull that up.
Put it in the chat and I'll pull it up. But here's a quick clip of Seth Jones and what he thinks the group is in the locker room.
How many damn questions was that man going to ask him? Damn.
That's Gene Principe, Oilers reporter. I also wanted to mention, Caesar's mentioning big turning points or big parts of the game. Sam Reinhart scoring 46 seconds after the first goal. Lusto scored 47 seconds in response during the Toronto series, Cody, after a big goal.
Wonder what the
one.
What about the Reinhardt one from Game 3? Remember, they scored with Perry on the power play, and Reinhardt answered like right back.
Right back, right?
Was it that quick?
Yeah.
Let me look. It was like it may have been within a minute or two.
Just to jump in. Seen something on Sportsnet here. Most goals by a trade deadline day acquisition. Number 1, Marian Gaborik with the 2014 Kings, 14 goals. Marian Hossa, that we mentioned, 2008, 12 goals. Brad Marchand, now third with 10.
Wow.
Gaborik with LA. That's right. Well, Gaborik was he was a rental, wasn't he?
They're saying trade day.
He was a rental.
Minute 20 after the Perry goal. Minute 20.
Okay.
See, quick responses by the Panthers. Again, those are back-breaking goals. I think those are actually some of the worst goals to give up.
Because that ended everything with the Oilers Nation. Like, we're maybe going to come back again from down 3-0.
Yeah, because if you get you don't need to score again right there. If you score with 5.5, 6 minutes left,
or even like 2-3 minutes later, it's 3-2 game.
Right, but it doesn't even matter. If you score with 4.5 minutes left, it's 4.5 minutes left. It's a 1-goal game. Edmonton's pulling the goalie for 2 minutes, so
yeah. And we talk about Edmonton being the best team in the NHL, 6-on-5 on our post-game show earlier. Now all the pressure goes to Florida. And you're looking at another overtime, and you're like, what just happened?
Another blown 3-goal lead, but yeah, I like the way we responded. I think it was Sportsnet. They showed Marchand after McDavid scored. Wasn't even phased. So a lot of comments about, the Panthers, you don't bounce back from a loss like that. Shout out Will Manso. He had a SpongeBob gif, I think.
That's such a dumbass quote coming from the fact that we blew a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Cup final, 1 Game 7. Like that is such a dumbass take.
Yeah, I mean that's hard to recover from. Like you will not get a worse loss than Game 6 last year.
Now the one thing I wonder is did we learn about playing with the pressure of you winning the cup that night? Because that is something that we did not do very well last year until it was evenly distributed with both teams. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that. I think we're better because we do have that cup under us now, and we have that experience. But
and I think there's a different approach to this one, right? It's like different in other series clinching games. This one after last year against this team
drained us. Who did? Like he did to us? Like what?
McDavid himself said he emotionally drained us twice. What?
maybe Barkov.
Find the quote.
I don't know.
I don't check the quotes a lot coming in here because we're doing our show over on X, but I have shared some stuff in our chat there. Some interesting numbers on this game. We talked about Brad Marchand off the top. He's now entering 1970s Montreal Canadiens dynasty territory and Mario Lemieux from the early 90s with the numbers he's putting up with the Panthers. So again, that's why my vote goes to Marchand. When you start to see those tweets going out there to the media.
Well, so Kirby, I wanted to know your thoughts on the timing of this 6 Stanley Cup final goals. Does that play a role in how you would vote or other people who are voting?
When they see those road numbers, when they see the names Mario Lemieux, Yvonne Cornway, the road runner, there's another Habs guy in there. These are guys that these media guys grew up watching and idolizing. Right?
And I think
powerful.
I think Brad Marchand with the name recognition. I know Sam Bennett has it now. I think the name recognition, Brad Marchand, longtime Boston Bruin, gets traded, does this. I mean, he has been just as good. I think he's been better than Sam Bennett. I think he's picked us up at certain points where Bennett, he's
some
been
of the
good.
bad publicity by Bennett, Panther fans, sorry to interrupt, Nick, aren't going to like this, but he might not get votes from certain media people because of that.
Well, absolutely. And I think you take a look, Marchand's been the best player throughout the cup run, throughout all 4 rounds. And to me, stepping up in this
and again, though, okay,
Cup final,
people aren't following that. Bennett's reputation with the Toronto media and the current day media is a lot different than what Brad Marchand's is from what he's done on the ice.
I think showing up in
in
this Stanley Cup final, 6 goals. I mean, I think the timing for me is why I'd put Marchand above.
It's
Bennett.
the timing of these goals. He's had the moments. I talked about earlier tonight on our other show. Bobrovsky had the moments last year. 2023 was Kachuk combined with Bob. Marchand has had the moments. Bennett's been unbelievable, but the moments of these playoffs have been Brad Marchand.
And I have this tweet from Mike Grinelli, Spitting Chicklets, a good friend of Caesar's now, says, thank God the Bees have Florida's first rounder in 2047 for arguably the best player in this series.
Yeah, he's a big Boston Bruin fan.
Yeah, I like Grinelli.
He's good. He's good.
His reaction to that trade is so. Have you seen it? It's so funny.
Yes,
yes.
We'll have to play that at July 1st.
But yeah, let's take a listen to see what Sam Bennett, since we're arguing who should get the Conn Smythe. Let's take a look at what Sam Bennett has to say about Brad Marchand.
He does everything. He's a guy that we follow. I mean, he's a natural leader. He speaks up and when he needs to speak, and he goes out there and does the hard work that is inspiring for guys, and we all look up to him and look to him to lead, and he's done a fantastic job.
And whatever happens over these next 2 games, guys, is Brad Marchand has a legacy here, and what he's done coming over from Boston and, not wearing a letter, so to speak, but like as you see on Cody's Marchand Bruins jersey, they're wearing that letter. A lot of that stuff matters in hockey lore, in hockey tradition, and how hockey minds are. Like, you have to just look at it that way. You objectively have to look at it. And coming in, I was like very excited to have Brad Marchand on our team, but I never liked him as a player. I didn't hate him like some of you, but I didn't really love the guy.
I never hated him.
But I just didn't hate him. But I'm like, what he's done for us is unbelievable. And
I'll say I was one of those guys. I'm not going to sit here and.
Ben was as well in our community.
The only thing is, I only hate players that do stuff to us. Marchand's never really done anything to us. I'm not gonna hate a guy because he scores lots of goals versus us. I hate that guy. No, I hate guys like Mike Richards who ended David Booth's career, basically.
Yeah.
I hate guys like Pat Maroon, who's just just wants to be like a
run
dirty
around
guy.
And do the little
Nick Paul. I'm not forgetting about you, asshole.
Nick Paul has done nothing to us, man.
Piss off.
That's Nick's guy person.
He just exists. You just hate him because he exists.
Oh.
I hate.
But there's guys, Cody, that I don't like, that I don't respect. Like that, we'll get into one tomorrow.
Like Kucherov.
Kucherov, I hate.
Yeah.
I'm talking Mitch Marner, not Kucherov, but Kucherov's one
Future
for-
Florida Panther. Mitch?
You know who I also hated?
Man.
Yanni Gord. Yanni Gord. I couldn't stand him.
things that he did, or you just couldn't.
Like
I
I could
remember
say,
him always jawing at Huberto. I'm like, oh,
I could say one name that will trigger Nick in 2 seconds. Jackson Lacombe.
fuck that guy. Oh, give me a break.
Just had one hit like on Barkov.
But
I
there's
think it
guys
was.
like Abelcader gave a dirty
Labocator, yeah.
Barkov, and different guys like that, like Coletta. These different.
I hated Justin Falk when he was in Carolina. I couldn't stand him.
Let me address the chat real quick. I promise you, Biz will not be in my section. It will be after, if I do interact with him after the game, but not during the game. Biz is forbidden to come near me. He already knows.
Go.
Need to hire security.
Right from the source there, Antonio. That's an interesting one. Oh, Johnny, do you? Just I'm indifferent.
What a name, Johnny Oduya.
I don't know. That's not a polarizing name. But, you know.
Like
The Bruins had like Bruins hell for me. It was Milan Lucic, Cody.
Yeah.
Lucic, I hated more.
Hated him.
Like
I hated Tuukka Rask. I mean, just pissed me off.
I
He's a
just
hot-
hated him because he killed us.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't do anything.
Like,
I
did you hate?
Some of our fan base.
Like, did you hate Lundqvist?
Our team.
Not as much, no.
No, the
I
guy.
hated.
We always had
Boston.
good success against
Yeah,
Lundqvist.
But
No, we.
I
No.
don't. No,
No?
we didn't. No, we did not. No, we did not.
Oh,
Hold
No,
up. Let me
we
pull up Henrik Lundqvist stats.
Okay.
Hold on,
We
Brad.
were not. No. I hated the Boston Bruins. Those teams, right? So
we had better success. I could be wrong on this, but I think against Carey Price than we did Lundqvist.
Oh no, we actually had a little thing against like the one year where he was just like ridiculous.
Who
Was like when he started out the year like 10-0 or something.
Who are you talking about?
Carey Price.
Okay.
And like we beat him in overtime, like off a damn dribbler.
yeah, I don't remember having as many problems with Price.
I remember Lundqvist and Rask.
Lundqvist, Rask.
I remember Rask.
You can go back to Kari Lehtinen. You
Yeah,
go-
Kari Lehtinen. Oh my gosh.
There's certain guys that, you know.
I also I don't remember having. We always did pretty well against Pittsburgh too. Fleury.
Yeah, we would beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Philadelphia.
That's when Crosby lost his mind and jumped Brett McLean after the faceoff. We're going.
I remember Jonathan Huberto did this penalty shot move on Ilya Brizgalov, and then Brizgalov threw his stick. Do you remember that?
Kind of, yes.
In Philadelphia.
Luongo snapped after a loss.
I'm gonna be honest, Antonio.
Yeah.
I didn't even like care about Matthew Tkachuk, to be completely honest.
I really liked Tkachuk in Calgary, Antonio here. I would watch games. I'm like, I like how this guy does stuff away from the play. He's very fun to watch live because you get to see what he does away from the play.
He's not that player anymore.
That
I don't think he's that player anymore. He's not that dynamic anymore.
little bit of burst and youthful exuberance might not be there anymore. But also,
Because, I mean,
He's also played a lot of hockey. So, I mean,
yeah, it's a lot of hockey accumulation.
3 years in a
and
row.
same thing with Bennett. I actually remember Bennett when Daryl Sutter first came in. They finally moved him back to center. I think they put him between Josh Levo and somebody else on a third line role. He's playing really well. I was like, oh, well, Bennett finally doing something. It was, I think, COVID season, right? I'm like just watching regular whatever hockey. And then we get him. I'm like, this guy was playing good in Calgary. I'm like, that's worth it. It's worth the shot, right?
Mhm.
And, Emil Heineman, I'm sure he's going to be a good player, but,
But our prospects, might as
Yeah.
well kill most of them.
Yeah.
I know some of you get triggered on that, but look at the track record.
But check out this stat, guys. We tied most road wins 10 in a single postseason, ties the NHL record.
And I think we already have the most road goals before we even came into
Oh
this
yeah, we had that locked up.
2-3 games ago.
It was like
I believe
because
that's
because we blew out Tampa.
we blew out Toronto and we
Blew out
blew
Toronto,
out Carolina.
Like you take a look, Tampa game 1, we won 6-2. Then we won 6-3 game 5. Then Toronto, we won game 5, we won 6-1, 6-1 again.
right.
Game 7. Then we won, what was it? 5-2 in game 1 against Carolina. Then we won 5-0 against Carolina. And then we scored 5 again in game 5
And
against
then we
Carolina.
scored 4 against Edmonton game 1. We lost what 5-4. Then
Yes.
then we
4-3. We
then
scored 3.
we scored 3, and then we won 5-4.
Mm-hmm. And then we scored 5 again tonight. I don't know what it is. So
1, 2, 3, 4,
3,
5.
4.
But to go back on Caesar, because Caesar, if you allow me to have the screen real quick. Let's see, where's it at? Here it is. Wait, no, hang it. Where's it at? There it is. Okay, I have like the all-time goalie stats pulled up. Look at Lundqvist's numbers: 26-11 with a 926.
So that's against us.
Yes, all time. Yes,
Wow. Okay.
that's like every goalie.
Okay.
all-time.
I can see Mark Tambrodor against us. I hated him.
Yeah. There's Tuukka Rask right there. That pissed me off.
Dominic Hasek 21-7.
Look at Tuukka Rask's save percentage.
939.
And a 1.78, dude. This guy drove me nuts.
But if I go
Didn't we also have some trouble against Ryan Miller? Like, how the hell are we losing to this guy?
16-11 with a 917.
Around what Kari Lehtinen was. So, I mean,
Remember, we were back then with a lot of these goalies.
Sergei Bobrovsky, 13-1-2 with a 940
940.
and a 1.94 goals against.
No,
We would play close scoring games against them, though, like 2-1.
Andre Pavlik, jeez.
Pavlik, remember, played with Winnipeg when they were in the Southeast Division.
Steve Mason, dude, he killed us, man.
944.
With the Flyers a bit, and then the
Yes.
Yeah, and then you have Patrick Waugh down here.
Kevin Weeks there.
Yeah, 928, 8-6-2.
TSN's Martin Baron, Kirby.
Marty,
Yep.
He's on there.
Like,
He's
I'm gonna
8-12.
refresh real quick. I want to see what goalies we've actually dominated against. I think I know my answer, but I'm curious to see.
I don't know where you're going.
It's got to be somebody in that 56 game season, like
How are we against Cam Ward?
not too good.
I'm trying to. How do I? I remember how I flipped it.
Well,
Wait.
while Cody finds that, we're gonna hear a word from our sponsor, Caneswear.
Panthers fever is here. Are you geared up? Caneswear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team. Jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Caneswear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at pantherswear.com. Again, that's pantherswear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear.
And I got us here with Jeremy Beckham. He was in our chat again tonight. Make sure everyone drops him a follow there over on our post-game show on the Twitter X platform. Hey, Panther fans in South Florida need real estate help? Check out Jeremy Beckham with Next Home Treasure Coast. It's a boutique service with a personal touch. Jeremy and his team put humans over houses, working hard for you whether you're buying or selling. Ready to move? Hit up BeckSellsFLA.com or call 772-475-5371 now. You'll be glad you did.
And I know we're not big analytics numbers people here, but you want to hear Marchand's expected goal percentage tonight? Like, remember, like around 50% is like pretty good, right?
Now, expected
I
goals.
have no clue what's good. I 64%.
Expected goals is the only thing that Edmonton's really had an edge on us when it
So
comes.
expected goal percentage, okay? So XG percentage, like give me a number here. It's like, remember, it's a percentage, so it's out of 100.
64.
64?
I have no idea.
Like
50 to 100, Kirby.
No idea. I don't know.
I'm gonna
70.
go with 78.
96.90.
That's insane.
Is that good?
That means the ice was tilted this way.
I heard an expected goals that right now McDavid through these playoffs is supposed to be sitting at 20 goals. He's at what, 7 now?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
But-
They were pumping that out.
Anyway, but
And I said, well, but the Panthers are a heavy analytic team, but let's share this Connor McDavid stuff.
but to answer everybody's question, it's actually like this. I did it by goals against average for the Panthers for minimum 10 games played for the other team. It's actually kind of shocking who's number one now.
Yeah.
It's Andrei Vasilevsky at number one now.
Wow.
That makes sense.
2.99 goals against.
Are you including playoffs or just?
No, this is regular season.
Wonder what it is playoffs.
I could check playoffs real quick.
Check playoffs. That's got to be because we've torched Tampa in the regular season.
Oh yeah, we've bloated the numbers like even pre-Maurice, I would say.
Yeah,
Coach Q.
Yeah.
Like out of like the actual people here, it's like, let me do 5 games played real quick.
Because Vasilevsky, I mean, those numbers have to be like I can't imagine what they were the first 2 playoff runs.
It's not surprising who's number one for the playoffs. It's not surprising. Just look at my jersey. You'll figure it out.
Antonio, it's been Leon to me. It's been the best Oiler.
It's Linus Ullmark number one at 3.49 goals against. And Kirby's guy Joseph Wall at 3.18. Ilya Samsonov, and then Stuart Skinner at 3 goals a game.
Vasilevsky's 10-10 with a 9.23 and a 2.56. So, I mean, that's just ridiculous. And then if you take a look at up until the president, or 2 years ago, he was 8-2 with a 9.50 and a 1.89 prior to the last 2 years.
And the number one team and the number one goalie, I think, if I say this name, is going to bring back some nightmares for Panther fans.
Say it.
Thomas Greiss.
Oh, gosh. I remember that penalty shot in overtime. I was so excited. I was there.
Caesar, remember that name?
Then I had to watch freaking Alan Quine score the game winner.
Islanders.
Alan Quine.
This fun story here, fun side story. I tweeted that out one night. I'm like, why does this guy get to us? His wife DM'd me, former Miss America, and she goes, he has family down in Florida, and he's always pumped to play the Panthers down there. So he gets excited and ready for those games. And I'm like, oh, that explains it. Because I'm like, what is the deal with Thomas Greiss here? I was starting to lose my mind on social media. His wife DMs me and tells me that. So.
How about Alan Quine, Kirby?
Quine, yeah. That came you through to us. Like,
Antonio Skinner did not go to college. He played in junior in the Canadian CHL. He played for, I believe, Lethbridge.
Oh, WHL.
Kirby, do you
know Swift Current?
Didn't he play in Calgary, Kirby?
Who?
Or is that Aiden Hill?
It's Aiden Hill, the Calgary.
He'll play at the Calgary Canucks.
Canucks, there it is. I nearly said Stampeders, but I'm like, that's not correct.
And he played with the Portland Winterhawks in the WHL at the same time. So he played on 2 teams at the same time.
Worst team in the league. Wasn't it one of the worst teams then?
It ended up working for him. Yeah, in the Alberta Junior Hockey League was one near
with Cale McCarr. Oh, geez.
And our very own Mike Bennett.
Those teams were good with Brooks.
But looking ahead to game 6 now.
Yes.
I kind of want to ask you guys before you go into their Cody.
What's up?
Who has been the most disappointing player on the Edmonton Oilers?
I don't want to say just yet.
I don't want to say it either.
So I'm not going to say anything.
Really?
Nope.
You guys are thinking that?
No, I'm not going to say
I have my answer.
How about
is this a suspicion?
Yes.
Now, I know who they're thinking. How about Janmark and Brown haven't killed us like last year?
Oh, my gosh.
They do get the...
Warren Fogle isn't here.
He's no longer an Edmonton Oiler, everyone.
Oh, Warren Fogle is not here to terrorize us anymore.
I thought you guys were indicating that letter that's on Cody's chest there.
No.
The little one.
No.
If it ends up not well here for them?
No. I guess the guy I'm going to say.
Just keep it to yourself, Cody.
It's a D-man. That's all I'm going to say. It's a D-man.
Wait. You guys argued with me the other night that you guys don't believe in.
No, it's not superstition.
When did I argue that?
It's not superstition.
I'm giving you
Here's the thing. It's not superstition. It's if I say it now, he's gonna fucking kill
he's-
us.
That's why
He's
I
in-
thought you were indicating this, but you're saying it's
No,
not.
No,
Well,
not
then
him.
why
No.
are you worried?
Yeah.
because
I
it's just
think-
luck.
I think that if me like I'm with Kirby.
It's in the chat right now. That's my
It's
answer.
not Draisaitl, so who are you indicating? It's not Bouchard.
Screw
It's
it.
Ekholm.
Ryan Nugent
Ekholm.
Hopkins. Ryan Nugent Hopkins. I think
That's
he's been
Bouchard?
terrible.
And you guys
Yeah.
are scared to say that.
No.
Well, I'm
Come
true.
on.
Well, that's
Oh,
my
come on.
base answer. I don't want to say my real
Come
answer.
on, that's both your answers? Are you kidding me?
No, I don't want to
Oh
say
my
my real
gosh.
answer.
Lulu, thank you for coming in the chat. Hold on a minute.
Lulu has been away. Appreciate Lulu here.
Dang it, I don't have it. Never mind.
You better
Lulu, he
not have
doesn't have the
lost
holy
it.
water.
Do you want me to go get it?
Do
Yes.
this, man.
I'll be right back.
And then we have a second Kirby here.
Oh, that's a better answer. That's a better answer. Never mind. I changed my answer.
Who's it?
Evander Kane?
Evander Kane. That's it. That's the one.
He's in the discussion, I guess.
Demoted to fourth line.
It's just he gave them nothing last year with the sports hernia, and this year he's had some.
Thank you, World's Worst Game. I didn't think about him. I forgot
He
about
has
him.
been
Thank you.
demoted. Good point.
So it demoted. He's taken like 4, 5, 6 penalties this series.
Perry's done the same thing, but then he's come up with goals.
Yeah, like Perry's doing the Bertuzzi thing where he's like he has goals, but like
Helping and hurting.
yeah, it's like he's not like he's neutral. Like for every good thing,
I was wrong because at the beginning of the series I said he'd be here or here, and right now he's kind of teetering here.
look. Well, let's say it like this: he's here 5-on-5. He's here 6-on-5 with the man advantage.
Or yeah. But then that kind of levels it
Because
up.
5-on-5, because Barkov took his lunch money, he took the sandwich and the fruit snacks from his lunchbox on that Reinhardt goal. And I'm not talking no regular old fruit snacks.
Everybody, I have returned.
No one cares.
Shout out to the Holy
Lulu
One.
cares. Right, Lulu?
Shout out to the Holy One.
Yeah, you can't say that to the chat. That's disrespect to the chat in turn of saying that to Nick.
I don't care.
They do care in the chat that's why Nick was gone, right? So, but what about Craig Simpson tonight mentioning on the Sportsnet broadcast
I'm choosing
the Oilers are really missing Zach Hyman here.
Oh, they are. Oh,
They
my
are.
goodness, they are.
For one game at this point. What are you
Like,
talking about, Craig Simpson?
They are missing him so bad. It's because they're missing the dirty work forward.
But you don't
Yeah.
mention that with 10 minutes left in the game when it's
No.
4-1. Like, that's loser mentality. That's a loser's race.
Well, you
What
know,
if we got spaces and said, "Oh, we're missing this guy," and it's like, Kirby, it's 6-2 right now.
You know what's funny? It's like during that I just remember during that Vegas series, there wasn't a point in that series where I was like, man, we miss Etu Luostarinen. Like I never thought
Fans
that.
did say that. They said if we had Etu, we're winning the
We
Stanley
say that
Cup.
now, but during the series, I didn't think of that at all.
there's everybody. You need a. There you go.
Don't make you. It's already raining here.
Dude, like it's been a thunderstorm. Like
I think
it's-
that's
I
why I got.
wouldn't characterize Fort Lauderdale as being Catholic.
I think it's more Coral Springs is. Pretty,
I wouldn't characterize Fort Lauderdale as, whatever. We're gonna just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But yes, I am blessing the chat. And Cody, everybody does care. So blow it out your ass.
2 minutes in the box.
And
Just-
back.
No clicking. No. Operational only with Caesar there. What were we saying?
I actually don't even remember now, but
Okay. I'm trying to think.
that's a good
Craig
point. Like,
Simpson talking about how Zach Hyman and freaking.
Oh,
but Antonio brings up a good point that adds to this conversation. What would this series be like if they had Broberg and Holloway?
Well, who would Broberg be over? Woman?
Well, he would be over Stetcher.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Bro, yeah, the big difference because some games Edmonton's playing with 5D.
Well, you don't think Holloway would?
I think Holloway would be a pretty big difference.
Yeah, but the Broberg one, yeah, I agree. But the Broberg one would be bigger to me because they are limited on their depth on the blue line, right? And things
Like here's the thing: when that offer sheet came out, I wasn't shocked they didn't match Holloway.
same.
I was shocked they didn't match Broberg.
Even if it was an overpay, and I don't
Yeah.
think it really was.
But it was because Broberg meant so much to that team at the time.
You can't tell me, and we talked about this on our After Dark. We talked about this before we did After Dark here, Caesar. All this Matthias Samuelson or talk or whatever in Buffalo, you're telling me that's not an overpay? I paid Broberg 10 times out of 10 over a guy like Samuelson. And that's the similar deal.
I also think
for at
you
least
take a look, Philip Broberg last year really became like a key piece for them.
He was good in that.
He was really good for them, like their best defenseman in the Cup final. In my
that's
opinion,
hard to see the guy's best hockey with you in the Cup final and say, yeah, we're going to move on.
Kirby, we talked about this. That would be like 2 years ago. We go to the Cup final with Low Starine, and oh, by the way, we don't match the offer. See you later. Like that matters. Having guys who were on that run last
With
year.
Broberg, I'll go as far as like almost Lundell.
Like I'll say this: you take a look at our 2023 run. We kept guys who were key parts of that team. I know there were some guys like Gudis, but Mark Stahl, Anthony Duclair. We moved off from some guys,
but we replaced those guys in spades.
The thing with Edmonton is you lose Broberg, you lose Holloway, you lose Warrenfogle. Not saying you should have paid Warrenfogle. You lose Ryan McLeod. You don't replace him the best. Those are the guys that really contributed to that run last year.
And I think I think that's a big reason why the 5-on-5 play for them from last Cup final to this one's so much.
Why are you paying Victor Arvidsson $4 million for 2 years?
And he's getting scratched.
They would Draisaitl on the second line from training camp on.
And he's getting scratched now.
That's crazy because they had him on the second line.
And they traded McLeod for like a first-round pick, like a brilliant prospect.
But they're not at the point. Why are they trading for prospects? We're selling prospects. We're not trading for prospects.
That's in McLeod. Like that's a guy I wouldn't mind the Panthers going after this offseason. If
McLeod would add speed to your team.
Speed, just
20 goal scorer, 55 points. I mean, I think that's a guy I wanted 2 years ago. If we were going to lose Duclair, a guy I mentioned,
that's the guy you look at if you lose someone down the middle of the ice.
Yeah. I mean, and if you want to keep Bluestow on the wing, I think McLeod would be an excellent option.
Yeah, and it's just the funniest thing is if St. Louis had Holloway, I think they do beat Winnipeg in that first round.
Yeah, I just think you lose a guy, McLeod, he gets 55 points or something. Dylan Holloway goes and gets 65. Philip Broberg, he misses 20 games, puts up 30, 35 points, playing over 20 minutes a night. I mean, I'm not saying that
contributing on a playoff team in St. Louis.
And I'm not saying that Holloway and McLeod would get those numbers in Edmonton, but imagine them playing in the top 6 with McDavid and Draisaitl
instead of like a Connor Brown.
Instead of Connor Brown and Vasily Podkolzin. With all due respect to them, they played well, but imagine that. Guys with some skill.
Kasperi Kapanen.
Right? Kasperi Kapanen. Imagine that. So I think, hindsight's 2020, of course, but
But even at the time, it didn't make it. Like Holloway, I understood. Like Holloway wasn't never going to get the minutes in Edmonton, but Broberg never made sense.
But a lot of people are like, "Oh, we got Skinner and Arvidsson. They're better." Like they really did. Like that was a real conversation.
It was big talk in the offseason.
That was talk. It's like, wow, Jeff Jackson was it?
But speaking of the media that overrated those signings, Anthony asked a pretty good question. Can you guys explain to me why it seems like the media is making complete excuses for Connor McDavid, saying he is not at the height of his powers and not giving us credit for game planning well for him?
Well, they should look no further than last year, how we game planned for him.
Because he is the golden boy of the NHL. If you look at the best players in every league, a lot of the times they will not be heavily scrutinized by the media.
If you are newer hockey fans, and I'm not talking even the last 5 years, I'm talking when Crosby first started out, he was protected a lot.
Yeah, it was.
But then you have the different outlook. Because remember when Stephen A. Smith talked on First Take, he asked PK Subban, like, hey, when do we start to criticize this guy?
And I thought he made a valid point.
And he was right. And, PK is going to stick up for, like, the hockey guys or whatever because he's, like, kind of, like, outnumbered there. So I understood his answer. But the answer is you could have criticized him through Game 3. Like, it definitely could have been a conversation. And, like, if you do, it's going to be like, oh, he has no help.
And tonight, I don't care what anyone tells me, Connor McDavid, yeah, there was moments, he gets a goal. He deferred early in that game when it was a game, passing off on plays where he
Yes.
was
And one of the things I also wanted
the
to
post, he deferred 2-3 times before he hit the post.
one of the things, Kirby, you talked about shift length. Well, take a look at McDavid's minutes. I know these games have went to overtime.
25 minutes tonight.
31-12 game 1, 35-07 game 2, 20-51 game 3, 29-40 game 4, 25-49 game 5. And you take a look at some other guys. Like I'll show Alexander Barkov, for example. 19-31 tonight, 23-17 game 4, 21 game 3, 30-minute 30-30 in game 2, 26-44 in game 1. Now,
those are overtimes mixed in there.
those are overtimes mixed in, but take a look. You have Anton Lundell picking up those minutes. It's McDavid and Draisaitl. And when they're not on separate lines, they're together. That, it runs them down.
Better job with minute deployment than Knobloch does.
Oh, 1,000%. And when you have those two guys, sure. But when you have I think McDavid,
that big of a gap from Barkov. Barkov plays every situation.
yeah, and McDavid has started to do that now. Also. But we usually have like Losterinen and Nosek starting, right? On the PK?
Yeah, and
Depends.
Nosek, I mean,
what a game from him, man.
I thought this was his best game.
easily.
I think he had 2 or 3.
This is the Tomas Nosek they thought they were getting and was going to happen before he got hurt in training camp.
Yeah,
I don't understand what switched this late.
Probably the moment.
Maybe.
I thought he was playing good down the stretch. I really did. Like, even when he was like healthy stretch, I'm like, I thought he's played fine. I've called for him.
Not to how he was in the playoffs, and then when
I'll say this: the biggest surprise for me has been Jonah Gadjevich.
Yeah.
I did not expect him to be sticking
like
the
to
line.
keep
This
the
one.
prolonged play up.
Yeah,
Yes.
I did not expect that.
I expected it for a game or two, but not over.
Yeah.
But it's been 2 rounds now.
Now you're
Yeah.
talking about games.
Like, and like,
You're like, where's this in the regular season?
Like, take a look at this fourth line. Nosek, 10:02. Greer, 7:54. Gadjevich, 8.5.
And that's what you want, right?
yeah,
You want them playing 8, 9, 10 minutes a night, and you can rely on them. And I'll show you Edmonton's fourth line. Edmonton was actually did a pretty good job on the forwards. They didn't have a single forward below 10 minutes.
but the problem is you don't notice their fourth line.
Correct. Now, Adam Henrique, Jeff Skinner, Andrew Kane, Matthias.
Some of those
Janmark,
guys should have been 3rd, 4th line guys.
So Ardvinson had 11-10, Podkolzin had 10-11, Skinner had 10.5, Henrique had 13-11, Frederick had 11-16, Kane had 14:02. That's 10 anywhere from 10 to 14 minutes there. Then you have McDavid at 26, Draisaitl 23. Perry at 17.5. My gosh. So,
But how much is that his power play in 6-on-5 time? Like,
probably a good chunk of it.
and Perry's not getting any more energy this series, and it's looking like McDavid had like 2 or 3 spurts where he tries, like, he could skate through the neutral zone or whatever. And then once he shut that down, he really didn't have anything else. Draisaitl was at best tonight. It was just like meh. And the depth guys weren't gonna, like, the depth guys had their game last game. It wasn't gonna happen 2 games in a row unless Florida really let it happen. But it's becoming more and more like, and this is like why I'm so confident right now in Florida is because if Edmonton wants to win the Stanley Cup, and I feel like the way the game was ref tonight is how it's going to be refed in Game 6 and how it's going to be refed in Game 7. 5-on-5 is going to stay that way.
Well, 3rd period last game, there was only 1 penalty. I want to say it was Sam Bennett.
Yeah, I don't really understand what they were doing, like calling everything in the first
And
period.
they got it out last game at the end there in the 3rd.
And then they swallowed the whistles. Like, I mean,
and tonight they just swallowed the whistles and called the obvious stuff. Like, I had zero problem with any of the
But
penalty calls
that's
tonight.
where the ref committee came in and said, hey, guys, they get feedback on games.
Yeah, and
These are 2 separate ref crews, I think, reffing this final.
And I
Chris
think
Rooney, I think, will be game.
Next game.
Yeah,
Is it gonna be Wes McCauley tomorrow?
No, that was.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
They rotate.
Or is there 3 ref crews? I could be wrong on that.
They rotate. They've been
Yeah.
rotating games.
So, but
Now, unless they want Macaulay to ref game 6,
6
then
Evans. Yeah.
you know.
yeah, but what's funny was like watching the first 2 rounds, like all 3 rounds with Edmonton. I really thought they were like they took like 2 or 3 steps 5-on-5 play. Now I'm questioning.
Maybe it's the teams they played. Again, I've been very critical of Dallas, how they attack the Oilers' defense. They did
and
not.
firing DeBoer was the right decision, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: everything through the middle to the outside, smothered by Edmonton again in that Dallas series. I mean, absolutely nothing chipping it in and going after it. They didn't do the very little they did when they went in on the forecheck and they activated the defense. They actually got some pressure. The problem is they never did it. It was through the neutral zone to the outside, poke checked away, bodied off a puck, back pressure by Edmonton and the support, picking up the puck and it's out.
Cody, the refs tonight were Wes McCauley and Francis Chiron.
Okay, so was McCauley tonight?
Yeah,
So-
tonight was Macaulay.
I thought they refed a great game.
Yeah, you know.
Like this was like the first game where I'm like not on them.
This
But I
was
don't-
the
No,
best-
I thought they.
I don't know what that's saying, but this was the best of them.
But like, I don't like how like the other night we scored 3 in the first period. We had like 3 power plays and then they get 3. I'm not a fan of that. Like, just 3 power because then it's like, well, now we're gonna have to deal with makeup calls later.
And so
So,
just asks like a great question. That'll get us into an argument. Is this Florida defense in 2025 better than 2024?
The individual play of certain guys is like Schmidt.
I'm gonna say yes, and it's only
Cody,
due to it's
I
gonna
don't
be it's a yes for me, and it's only between 2 guys. And it's the level of play so different.
Ekblad and Schmidt versus OEL.
Easily.
I
Schmidt
agree with
versus
that.
OEL leans at this
And
way
I'll
now.
say Montour was good last year, but I think
But
Jones. has
Montour
been
was
very-
better in 2023. That
Yeah,
was
and
his
I think-
year.
I think Jones has been just as good this year, if not better than Montour was last year.
But the question's also confusing because you're like, which is better? Because if you're talking about guys, well, they had a better year in 2023 than 2024. You're just looking at in a bubble for what they did.
Like, I'm going to be honest with you, with how we were just rolling last year, I personally, even if we win this cup, I think
it was more consistent.
I like last year's team better in terms of the consistency.
We didn't run into a roadblock until Edmonton.
No, and
I don't care what people say about the Ranger game. I talked about people tonight on the post-game show. I said the series was going to be overtime and 1-goal games.
well, we outshot them 47-25 the game we lost.
And we were going up against Igor. To
I'll
me,
say but like even if we do win this cup or not, I do like this team a little bit better
I don't.
than last year's.
I like
do too.
last year's team better. I think last year's team's a bit better.
I like
however-
I don't think so. You're telling me that last year's team and this year's team with Brad Marchand.
I'm not
last
saying the
year was better.
roster's
Brad
not
Marchand,
better.
one guy. I get
Okay.
what you're saying with
The
Brad.
roster,
But this is
the
Conn
roster
Smythe
is
levels.
better.
Yeah.
I think you take a look at how we were rolling through opponents.
Who's been better last year or this year? Was Bob better last year or this year? I'd say
I think it's very
Oh,
close.
Bob was better. Okay. Are we talking individual or are we talking as a group?
as a group.
Because
Well,
I think,
with
I
me,
honestly
Horsley
think,
was way better last year than this year. Way better.
But then Ekblad's
He
way
got
better than
but then Ekblad's, yeah, I was
but
gonna say,
Ekblad's better
Ekblad's
than this year than
year.
last year. Mikola's better this year than last year.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Okay, now you guys are smoking shit.
Mikola
because-
didn't go up to the Carolina series this year, Nick.
Well, you don't have to get. I like last year's team better. Now, I do think this team will go down in
I
history as
don't
I don't know
being
why.
better.
I don't know why people get mad when you and I say that, Nick. Last year's team, they won the Stanley Cup.
Like I said
did,
it in the
but-
preview, I'm like, I trust last year's penalty kill more than this year's.
I do.
I trust this
Not
year.
as much as you think, Nick. Now Cody slants the other way, but I said
Me too.
it's pretty close.
It's like not much.
yeah, it's
And
more.
if you say the difference is Stenlin, then I won't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But
What
it's-
power play do you like?
I
better?
also just think the whole thing of like, Cody, we were rolling. Like we lost the cup and we were rolling throughout. Like that was my thing. Like we
If
were a
Brad Marchand
wagon.
on that team last year.
It
we
was
went-
just a well-oiled
we went 4
machine.
games.
3-2, 4-1, 5-2 wins. Like
Easy.
Yeah.
That
I
game
mean,
in New York last year, sitting back in a rocking chair, game 1. And then Mika buries the guy in the boards, and Cody said he's been better this year. Buries whoever in the boards. Who was that? Heedle? Just see you later.
now,
at the end of the game, and like some Ranger fans was like, he had concussion. He don't give a fuck.
The
Like,
only last year, obviously the Edmonton thing that played out, but that could play out with this team and kind of has.
Yeah.
And then the Boston game 1, which is kind of on Ekblad last year.
in game 6.
And then game 6 against Boston.
I know we
don't
won
talk
that game,
about
but that,
game 1 Ekblad last year, Kirby. Don't talk about game 1 Ekblad last year.
Me and Caesar did film on it.
We did.
Yeah. You guys can check it out on the
Yeah, I agree with it. The 2024 team wouldn't have been down 0-2 to Toronto.
Yeah, I don't.
I
But
think
the-
last year.
but the thing is,
I get the Stanley Cup final.
But
I get
Toronto
that.
is better this year, though.
yeah, but
You're not convincing me. I think last year's team was a wagon. It was a
but
well-oiled
the
machine
problem. But here's the thing.
from game 1
Okay,
to
but-
the end.
Well, right now, but here's the thing. Our worst play was in that second round, which is why we were down 2-0.
Yeah.
Our worst play last year was games 4 through 6 in the Cup final. That was our worst play, and we got blown the doors off of us.
Yeah, again,
All
I think
on the forward front because of Brad Marchand, and then you got a guy like Mackey that's not playing. I understand the
And the
depth
fourth line
there.
wingers are better.
Defense and the goaltending last year.
The fourth line wingers are better this year than they were last year. Way better.
again, I mean, it's
gotta
very
I'm
close.
taking Greer and Gadjevich and
Yeah.
Boquist over Lomberg,
Especially the way
Cousins,
Gadjevich is
and
playing this
Okposo.
year.
I'm taking
Yeah,
them.
but you had Lorenz.
Lawrence didn't play for us last year in the playoffs, and this year he was an integral part for the Leafs team that Caesar just said improved. Right, Nick?
Yeah, I mean,
He
I
wasn't
think.
in the lineup.
Well, I like Steven Lorenz. I liked him when we brought him in from San Jose. I thought he should have been on that fourth line over Lomberg.
playing on this fourth.
I
line.
agree. I agree with you on Lomberg, Cody. I wasn't. I love Ryan Lomberg, but I mean, he wasn't.
You two are a little bit more down on him, but
Like, no, I mean, like he's a South Florida legend, right? But at certain points, he was just a part of the rotation. So as far as
Okposo was just there.
Okposo,
Yeah.
like we had some good depth guys there. Again, I think as a unit, as a group, last year, how cohesive everything was, I think last year's team was better.
Bennett doesn't get hurt with his hand last year. I know it's hypotheticals. He's on a contract year last year instead of this year. You're telling me he's not.
I don't care what anybody says. The 5-game series last year against Tampa was well more overwhelming and convincing than this year's. I don't care.
But once again, we played more improved teams this year. Like
Yeah.
we played
Every
Tampa.
team that we played this year was much improved.
Like Tampa this year was better than Tampa last year. Toronto this year was
Toronto
better
was
than
way better.
Boston last year. But the Rangers last year were better than Carolina.
But if you're telling me, hey, Kirby, look at all the goals we're scoring this year. Yeah, last year we played against Igor, Swayman, and Vat.
Like I'm not looking at goals because the goaltending matchups were just complete. Like that's why I'm never worried about goalies in the playoffs with this team anymore. Like
I don't think it matters.
it doesn't matter because
Best
we went
goalie
through
in the
we
world
went
last
through the damn gauntlet with goalies. We went
Yep.
Bassey, Swayman, Igor.
And then Skinner was playing his best hockey coming off that Dallas series. Those numbers he was putting up.
And it was the same thing this year. Skinner was coming off his best hockey of the year against Dallas again. But this year we went from like Bassey was better this year than last year,
Mhm.
but it was still the same results.
How about this? I'll settle this. The 2023 team was the best, folks.
They may have had the best.
Maybe
fourth seed.
Kachuk. Maybe Kachuk.
That's it. And Montour and Bobrovsky.
Lusto, that was his year too. And then
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I guess there's certain
I still think
I'll say this. There's certain aspects of the team last year that I think were better, but I think
maybe the
there's also-
cohesiveness because they
Yeah.
didn't lose as many players as they did this year.
But the one thing that is different is, and it's because it is a year of difference, is this team's more mentally resilient. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think after that Edmonton series, nothing really phases
Yeah.
them.
And the only one thing my favorite part about that 2023 was Eric Stahl.
Oh my gosh, when he scored game 1 against
That
Vegas,
shorty.
I'm like, there's no freaking
Kirby was
way.
so hard on him for no reason to start.
no reason. This guy talks about he doesn't like the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm a lifelong Panther fan and had to watch him.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he
and
didn't
he
play in the
played for Team Canada. He couldn't skate.
So
No one could have skated on that damn team.
to recap, Cody and Caesar say this year's team. I think it's very, very close. Certain aspects.
It's
I'll go
very
last year's
minute.
team.
Yeah.
Very
It's
minute.
very
Yeah, and I'm not
minute.
saying it's a big difference.
No, I
We,
don't.
we could all disagree to agree to disagree.
Yep.
Like if these two teams played each other, if last year's team
Which
played
one's the home team? Which one's the road team?
last year's team is the home team.
Okay, so this year's team has an advantage this year because how many road wins do they have this playoffs?
Yeah, but here's the issue. Last year, our shittiest games were on the road.
Yeah.
This year, our shittiest games are at home. So, because remember, we lost on the road Tampa game 4. Then again, Boston, we really both our bad games were the shit ones at home.
Kirby, I'm interested to hear your answer on this. Realistically or unrealistic? Unrealistically, Brandon Montour.
Yeah, Montour would probably be my answer.
Realistically, Kevin Stenlund.
Yeah, if I'm looking contract wise, Stenlund, but for player wise, heart wise, my
I gotta think because I don't want to go Stenlund. Then
I'm
again, that
gonna
might
stick
be the
with
only
Stenlund.
answer.
That's probably
I know another vote that someone could say.
Montour Sam.
Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. Anthony Stolars.
There you go. Get him the bell. Get him the bell. Cody's gonna go with that.
Like, we just gotta. You know how many fucking.
I'm only
comments
going
we're
with
gonna have?
that.
You know how
The
many
team last
comments?
year, look in net.
I'm
is
only going with that to be
talk about-
different.
Cody hates this word, but goaltending depth. Ryan, sorry, but
That was
Knight's not here.
You know, speaking of goaltending depth, somebody got the puck tonight. The game puck. Cody already knows.
I'm so upset. I saw it. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Same pick. There we go, Lulu.
But see, I know everybody's upset, but
Go
this
ahead.
is
I'm
between
not gonna
the
be upset.
players
That's
and the
their
locker
pick.
room. That's
I
their-
don't know what Vanacek's
let-
doing behind the scenes.
Let Caesar. Caesar's got a point off air.
Like honestly, like Paul Maurice is like he's always saying like with the handshakes, like he doesn't care if he goes in the line and shake hands. Now you could argue whether it's whether it's respectful or disrespectful, but that's Paul Maurice's opinion. This is the thing that happens in the locker room. The players own that. So whatever they do in the locker room, fans shouldn't really care. We should just like enjoy it. How many times last year or the year before, those players that were not in the lineup helped Bob prepare for the games?
Last year or the year before?
Both last year and the year before.
I'd like to hear it, but Lawrence was a great shooter. too.
Lawrence, yeah.
I don't have a
thank you.
problem with it. I think it's actually a classy thing. Gadjevich
I don't
got
mind
the puck last year.
when he had his
When
kids.
he had his twins, he wasn't playing.
I mean,
returns to
would you
play
guys
this
be
year.
mad? Would you guys be upset if Samoskevich got it?
I don't
I
care.
think everybody
I
would be
thought
like,
that was
oh,
gonna
yeah.
that was gonna be my
Wonder what he
guess.
did at. I just would wonder what he did at Dairy Queen.
Womberg for me should have.
I don't actually care. I
like-
just think
it's a
VTech,
Dairy
the
Queen,
VTech Vanacek joke keeps running around here, Kirby. The VTech.
know.
Vanacek joke.
Vanacek, though, Vanacek's just funny because he's just like they're like they asked him about him and Skinner earlier today.
Yeah.
And Vanacek's like, what the fuck you want me to do? This is part of my routine. It just because he's doing it now in front of me is like I got to change my routine. Like,
No, but did they ask him when you started your routine? He said this year.
yeah.
He's like here this year.
Like I'm low key starting to like Vanacek a bit because on 32 Thoughts, Bukauskas was talking about like in the Carolina series. Because remember, in the Carolina, the benches aren't as big, so they have to sit in fucking Timbuktu for like they have
There's
to
a-
sit
From my youth.
and
Lulu said he
Bukauskas-
said the series.
yeah and
Oh, okay.
Oh, this series.
Yeah.
There we go.
and damn, like I forget what challenge did Carolina do or something. Like what did Carolina challenge? Oh wait, no, if Aho kicked it in, that's what they were reviewing. Remember?
Yes.
And Vukoska said that Vanacek was so locked in on that, like on the camera on the side, to see if it was a good goal or not. And then, though, I think I miss Alex, the 23 team. I thought Alex Lyon was just a bunch of fun to look at because his celebrations when the team won.
Oh yeah, he would have got more publicity than he played, but he would have got more than Stolars and Vanacek because they both did this with Skinner.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But Lyon on the celebrations was always so funny. Like I thoroughly enjoyed. Like if I would not mind if we ever brought him back.
Hey, he could be back this summer.
I
Just
wouldn't
want to
mind it.
give a real quick, thanks to our chat and our listeners. Please don't forget to hit the like button. It'll help
Yep.
our algorithm. And we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us at 3 a.m. Eastern time. So
It's
you know.
bedtime, boys.
real quick, guys. Any predictions? I know it's kind of hard. I don't think any of us seen any of these games which way they were going. It's been a toss up every game. You guys have any predictions or what you're? We know what Nick is hoping for Tuesday.
Nick,
It is
it's all
always-
me and Cody had 7 for different teams.
Everybody, it has always been cats and 6. As
There
we
we go.
always say here, Caesar, get the video ready. Let's go, cats.
Well, he ain't gonna ask us a damn question and then we can't answer.
I
it 'cause
know.
you want
Because you're not
outro.
going to answer it. I know what Cody's going to say. Oh, I don't want to answer. You're not going to want to hear my answer. And then Kirby's going to dance around it, and it's just going to wait, and he's going to say, oh, I don't know, this, that, the other. So
You know,
I'm saving-
people ask me during the day, what do you think, Kirby? What do
So
you
you
think?
know what? I'm going to save everybody the time. They're not going to answer. Cats and 6.
I'm not gonna answer. I made my
2 minute penalty box.
pick at the beginning.
No one
Guys.
controls the box except for me.
Caesar does. We're gonna go through the penalty box.
Kirby going to answer?
I've had Panthers in 7 from the beginning.
So you think
5
I
for
had-
Edmonton.
I think Nick and I are the only ones that had Panthers in 6.
When
I'm,
did the Panthers play good off of a road game, then come back home and you're like, oh, they
I'm
got it
gonna
all.
go.
Game 3.
I'm gonna say 5-3 Edmonton.
got him there, Caesar? Ha ha.
Hey, exactly. I think that's the first time I had Kirby speechless. I'm gonna
Fine.
take that.
Here we go.
But yeah,
I don't know.
What-
This week, Kirby?
What?
This week?
Anyways, thanks everybody. We really appreciate it. So long. Until next time. Oh, and don't forget, tomorrow, join us for our Cats and Rats in the Big C's hangout. We have 2 awesome guests from our community and from the national
what time is that
podcast.
again?
6 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, and
Here.
and what happened?
Oh, I just heard Caesar. National what?
National Hockey League Media.
Oh,
But
yeah.
also,
last
but
week.
also, happy early morning Father's Day to the fathers out there.
Yep.
Shout out to you guys.
And I hope Biz sounds been a nice little happy Father's Day.
Hey, Biz,
Remember,
send a,
Biz, who's your daddy?
Hey.
Busy boy.
We got that video at the end here, or we might play some stuff tomorrow.
yeah.
We got this.
Peace
Till
out,
next
y'all.
time.
Go
Let's
Cats,
go,
baby.
Cats.
I didn't expect that image.
Tonight, it's going to a great teammate. He shows up to work every day, Vanny. Guys, boys, slow the game, and then let's do it one more.
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats!